Good morning all of you my dear students. Welcome to Gyan Ganga Science Classes 365 channel. Today now we are going to discuss about PUC second year biology chapter number 1 reproduction in organisms. First of all, so that chapter containing a following concept. Now the first concept of this chapter is lifespan. Lifespan. First of all, we know the lifespan of each and everyone living organisms have a different types of a lifespan. Then now we are going to discuss about lifespan, the period from birth to natural death of an organism, so that one is known as a lifespan. Lifespan is not correlated with their size and structure, so that one is known as a lifespan. Example, crow and parrot belongs to aves have the pneumatic bones for flying, but the lifespan of crow is 15 years and parrot lifespan is 140 years. Lifespan, it means the period from birth to natural death of an organisms, so that one is known as a lifespan. Example, crow and cow, it belongs to aves the pneumatic bones for flying, but lifespan of crow is 15 years. The lifespan of crow is 15 years and parrot lifespan is 140 years. So example of plant lifespan. Example of plant lifespan. So first example is rice, second one is rose, and third one is banana, and fourth is banyan tree. The lifespan of rice is 4 months. And the lifespan of rose is 10 years. And banana lifespan is 25 years. And banana tree, the lifespan of banana tree is 200 to 300 years. So it is the best example of plant lifespan. Then now we are second one example of animal lifespan. Isn't it? Example of plant lifespan. So first one is rice. The lifespan of rice is 4 months, and rose, the lifespan of rose is 10 years. The lifespan of banana is a 25 years, and the lifespan of banyan tree is 200 to 300 years. Then example of animal lifespan, number 1 animal is butterfly. Second one is fruit fly, and number third is crow, number 4 is cow, number 5 is dog, number 6 horse, number 7 crocodile, number 8 elephant, number 9 tortoise, number 10 parrot. So look at the all examples are involving a lifespan of plant, and look at the second column, example of animal lifespan. So the butterfly lifespan is 1 to 2 week, 2 week. Then fruit fly lifespan is 1 month, 1 month, and crow 15 year, and cow 25 years, and dog is also 25 years, and horse, the lifespan of horse is 15 year, and crocodile, the lifespan of crocodile is 60 years. Elephant lifespan is 75 years, and tortoise lifespan is 100 to 150 years. Then parrot lifespan is 140 years, isn't it? So all the examples are involving a lifespan of animals and the lifespan of plant, isn't it? Then now we are going to discuss about second point, what is meant by reproduction. Okay. Next concept is what is meant by reproduction. Reproduction, it can be defined as a biological process in which an organisms gives rise to young ones of offspring similar to their itself, so that one is known as a reproduction. So look at the point, what is reproduction? Reproduction, it is a biological process. Reproduction, it is a biological process. It is a biological process in which organisms produce offspring, so that one is known as reproduction. Just you can see, remember the definition of reproduction. Reproduction, it is a biological process in which organisms produce offspring, so that one is known as a reproduction. Or it can be defined as a biological process in which an organism gives rise to young one's offspring similar to itself, so that one is known as also a reproduction. Then which are the concepts are involving a reproduction? The offspring grow, mature, and to terms produce of its own new offspring and ultimately die. There is a cycle of birth to growth and death. So reproduction, it involves birth, growth and death. Reproduction enable the continuity of the species generation after generation. So these all are the concepts are involving reproduction. Then now we are going to discuss about the types of reproduction. Types of reproduction, isn't it? So these are the classified into two types. Number one is asexual reproduction. Asexual reproduction. Okay. Then second type of reproduction is sexual reproduction. Okay. Sexual reproduction. So reproduction, it involves asexual reproduction and sexual reproduction. Then now we are going to discuss about what is meant by asexual reproduction. It produce a organisms without organisms without fusion of gamete, without fusion of gamete. So that one is known as asexual reproduction. Asexual reproduction, it involves agmogenesis or agmatogenesis. Then it involves uniparental, that is single individual required, uniparental, that is single required, asexual reproduction, organisms are called clone. It is very important. Asexual reproduction are called clone because of they are morphologically, genetically, identically their parent. So that one is known as clone. It is very important. Then the asexual reproduction, only mitosis, no meiosis, no packaging. So these are the concepts are involving asexual reproduction. So just you can see, remember here what is meant by asexual reproduction. It produces the organisms of without fusion joined gametes of gametes. So that one is known as asexual reproduction. Okay. Then now example, mostly single celled organisms, Emersia plants and animals with the simple organistic, for example algae, fungi, some invertebrate animals. So these all our concepts are involved in a asexual reproduction, isn't it? Then method of next concept. So asexual reproduction, it is a second method of a reproduction. Now we are after the complication of asexual reproduction, I have start next one is method of asexual reproduction. So method of asexual reproduction method of asexual reproduction. So the first method of asexual reproduction is number 1 is fission method. Then now we are going to discuss about what is fission. Separation of parent cell is called as a fission. Fission, it means separation of parent cell. So that one is known as a fission. So the fission method, it involves three types or three methods. Number 1 is binary fission. Which fission? Binary fission. Number 2, B is multiple fission. Okay, B is multiple fission. Then number 3rd one is plasmotomy. So now discuss about method of asexual reproduction. Number 1 is fission method, separation of parent cell. So that one is known as fission method. Then now we are going to discuss about a binary fission. So what is binary fission? Parent cells are divided into two equal halves. Parent cells are divide into two equal halves is called binary fission. For example, irregular binary fission, amoeba paramecium, paramecium. So it is the best example of binary fission. Then now we are going to discuss about second method of asexual reproduction is multiple fission. Parent cells are divided and release a more number of offspring. Parent cells are divided and more number of offspring. So that one is known as a multiple fission. For example, Plasmodium. So examples are most important. Plasmodium. So example of multiple fission is Plasmodium. So multiple fission, the best example of multiple fission is Plasmodium. Then third one is plasmotomy. Multinucleated protozoan cell divided into two or more multinucleated daughter cell without the occurrence of mitosis. So that method is known as plasmotomy. Example, Plasmodium. Isn't it? Multinucleated protozoan cell divided into two or more number of multinucleated daughter cell without the occurrence of mitosis. The occurrence of mitosis is known as plasmotomy. Then second method, now we are going to discuss about the asexual. Second method is budding method. Which method? Budding method. So what is meant by budding or budding method? Budding method number second method is budding method. Budding method number 2, budding method. Budding. Which one method is budding method? So what is budding method? Unequal cells are formed, a small birds are produced. Small birds are produced is known as a budding. The budding methods are involving two concepts. Number one is exogenous birds, and number B is endogenous bees or birds, genus birds. Then what is meant by exogenous birds and endogenous birds? The small birds are produced on the body, produced on surface of the body. The small birds are produced small birds are produced on the surface of parent cell. Parent cell is known as a exogenous bird. For example, hydra and yeast. So look at the diagram. Suppose this is a hydra. When matured hydra, after some time, the small birds on the surface of parent, then the birds are cut and separately they are live in a second generation, isn't it? Then endogenous bird, small birds are produced inside the body, so that one is known as endogenous birds. Small birds idu ena on the body, and here inside the body is known as endogenous birds. Then third method, so inside the bird, it is the best example of endogenous birds is sponges or gemmules. Yes, so that one is known as endogenous birds. Then third method of asexual reproduction is sporulation. In algae, which method? Sporulation. Third one is sporulation. In algae and fungi, new offspring. In algae and fungi, new offspring are produced through the spore is called as a sporulation. For example, algae example Chalmidomonas, it can say it zoospore. Then fungi, it involve example penicillin, it is Coindia. Sporulation, it means algae and fungi, new offspring are produced through the spore is called sporulation, isn't it? Next one is Gamia. Next one method is Gamia. They are the asexual structure in Markansia is called Gamia or Gamia method. For example, Hepatopsida, Hepatocopsida and liverwort. So this is the fourth method of asexual reproduction. Then fifth method of asexual reproduction is protonema. Fifth method is protonema. Sphagnum funaria, and it is the best example of sphagnum funaria and bryophyta. They are belongs to the protonema asexual reproduction. Then sixth method is fragmentation. Then what is meant by fragmentation asexual methods? Parent body cut into short leaf fragments. Later in which regeneration occurs and they like a parent cell, so that method is known as a fragmentation method. For example, Spirogyra, isn't it? Then parent body cut into the short leaf fragment, later in which regeneration occurs and they like a parent cell, so that one is known as fragmentation method. Then seventh method is vegetative reproduction. Vegetative reproduction. It involves a plant of a vegetative reproduction is used for a asexual reproduction that reproduce through the vegetative parts of a propagules of the plant is called as a vegetative reproduction. So just you can see, remember here, what is meant by vegetative reproduction. In plants, the letters, the vegetative reproduction is used for asexual reproduction, that is reproduction through a vegetative propagules of the plant is called as a vegetative reproduction. For example, eyes of potato, rhizomes of ginger, bulb of onion, then bulbil of agave, leaf of the birds, and sucker of the chrysanthemum, and bulb of the onion. So these are the best examples of vegetative reproduction. Then what are the advantages of asexual reproduction? So first advantages of asexual reproduction is simple mitosis division may be produced a large number of young cells. This is the first advantages of asexual reproduction. And second one is it helps to the disperse of offspring to place to place. This is the second advantages. Then third advantages of asexual reproduction is offspring produced and genetically similarly to that. So this is the third advantages of asexual reproduction. And next disadvantages of asexual reproduction is first one is no genetic combination occurs, then their own variation. Second one is environmental change their place to place. So this is the second disadvantages of the asexual reproduction. I will be stopped at the point, and remaining part we will see next lecture. Thank you. Jai Hind.